You look like AJ.
With your eyes? I don't know. Jameis
Mark
Winston?
fucking McGuire.
Come on.
They showed this shot of him last night a lot where he was just sitting there, eyes wide open, just. I was so intrigued by that 30 for 30 last night. I don't think they dove in deep. By the way, welcome to McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. It is Monday, June 15th. I am Patrick McAfee. To my left, brought to you by Adidas, AJ Hawk. Are you an Adidas guy? I didn't know that. I thought click clack, bro. What?
Click clack. Click clack.
Click clack, bro. Click clack.
Click clack.
I'm all over the place, really. I guess I technically kind of worked for Adidas doing those high school games. Adidas was the sponsor, so I have a ton of Adidas gear.
Hey, by the way, free gear. I'll work for you too. No big deal. But the click clack, there he is. That 30 for 30 last night, it was right during Backlash where our guy Drew McIntyre defended his championship, by the way, with a big W. Shout out Drew McIntyre,
Woo!
friend of the show, guest of the show. We told him he was going to win. He went one. Randy Orton and Edge had one of the best wrestling matches I've seen in the last decade. Was definitely worth the hype. I don't know how the fuck they were able to pull it off. They did. It was awesome to watch. But then when the 30 for 30 started with a long gone summer or whatever the hell it was, talking about 1998, I was 9 years old when all that was happening. So it was nice to take a trip down memory lane. I didn't know that going into that season, it was already expected of McGuire to hit a bunch of homers because the year before he did that. I didn't know Sammy Sosa came out of nowhere. I didn't know that the record breaker was against the Cubs. I mean, there was a lot of cool moments there that we got to learn about. I didn't really dive into the steroid scandal until they all put it in Barry Bonds' bat. But I want to ask you this, AJ. If you were playing in the MLB and 1994, the season was lockout or strike or whatever the fuck it was, then it almost collapsed completely. And you're looking around, and the MLB isn't testing for steroids, which basically means they're promoting. I don't want to say they were promoting it, but if you're turning a blind eye to something and not testing for it, you're definitely not saying we don't want that in our league. But if you're Mark McGuire or Sammy Sosa or any of the pitchers that I assume are on some shit, and you see everybody around you on it, and the MLB is not testing for it, and your sport is at the lowest it's ever been, and when these big barbarians are taking this and the sport's on the rise, it'd be hard. I think it'd be hard as a human to be like, you know what? I'm not going to take steroids because I'm morally a better person than you. Well, your ass going to be out of the fucking league pretty quick because when I pick up this fucking telephone pole and swing it, you are going to be in a fucking problem. I feel like that's what I took away from it most last night is I feel like I was very hard on the baseball players that get caught up in steroids because in football, if you take steroids or a recovery agent, you are potentially fucking somebody else out of a job, out of a career, out of a dream, and everything. But whenever they start talking about it, they weren't testing for anything. There was zero regulations. It's like, it'd be hard not to be like, yo, give me everything that makes me hit this fucking baseball to places that it's never been before, like over the Busch Light sign, out of the fucking Dodgers Stadium. It'd be hard to say, I honestly believe it would have been hard to say no to that, especially if I'm Mark McGuire.
I mean, it would have been really difficult to take that stand and say, oh, I'm going to take like the moral high ground. I'm going to do it my own way. I'm going to do it the natural way. I mean, I know a guy that was a catcher for 10, 12 years in the minors, only had a tiny few stints in the majors, and he lived through that era. He remembers, he would tell me he was a catcher, and he was catching in a spring training game for Mark McGuire, and he says all he remembers is Mark McGuire digging into the plate, digging in, wiggling his foot. He could see the veins through his pants. And he said he knew right then, like, all right, I don't think I'm going to make the big leagues. I don't think I'm going to ever get up there, like, consistently. And he said he had to truly, like, think about it for a while. He's like, it wasn't like a known thing that everyone talked about, but he knew like, hey, if I get on the juice, I might have a better chance. And he never did it. And he never really made it to the majors, but he lived through that era. And I think a lot of guys probably were in that same situation.
So shout out to that guy for being able to say, you know what, I'm not going to risk my future health, which it is. The amount of studies and research have been on steroids and how bad it is for your body in the future. And I respect the people that are able to say no, but when the league isn't testing for it or even looking at it, and they know that, I mean, Ty said that he remembered back in the day, he had to be very young at this point, but whenever Mark McGuire was doing interviews, there was a bottle of like Andro over his shoulder. Like
that was on purpose. They didn't go into that. They should have gone to that in the documentary. They're in the different books. I think Jose Canseco's book, he said McGuire was smart. He put that up there on purpose because you could buy it at GNC at the time. It was legal. And he say, no, I'm not taking the juice. I'm just taking Andro. It's right here. Look, I can buy it at GNC. And so that was put there like it was almost a plant for the reporters to see.
But as a 2020 eye, okay, these eyes right here. These eyes. I actually am 2014 now. Just
Really?
after the LASIK, I see 20 feet is 14 feet. Some people 2020. I used to be like 2080, a little bit of a squinting issue. Jameis Winston, same type of thing. But with these eyes, I was watching those highlights from that 1998, 1980 something season, all that shit. It's like, man, every one of them is taking juice right now. I mean, you could just look at Mark McGwire and be like, well, that looks like a human that's inflated more than he's supposed to be. And then you look, that human looks like they're on some shit too. I feel like everybody knew. I feel like everybody knew everybody was on stuff. And then when it all came crashing down was the voluntary test, 106 people, and then the Balco scandal. It's just like, I think baseball was put in a tough position strictly because they chose to not test for it and turn a blind eye to it. And then whenever it got out of control, I would assume at some point somebody in MLB was like, hey, whenever all the people find out that every human that's our stars are just taking horse drugs, I mean, that could be bad for us. But fuck it, let's just ride the wave until it ends up in Congress.
Yeah, Kevin Youkilis said it. He said you'd come in some or preseason, whatever, and he'd say, "Oh, you had a good off season. Clearly, you were doing something different."
It's just that's a whole different professional athletic world than the NFL locker room. The NFL locker room, there's no talking about it. It's not something that's like promoted. You don't
Everyone
even like.
assumes though, Pat. Everyone assumes that like everyone in the NFL is on juice, and I'm like, if they are, they have to find some new designer steroids that nobody knows about yet because you get tested all the time.
For instance, deer antler spray. That wasn't being tested for, but that's just like one of many things that guys take. Guys have supplements that they take or something like that. I mean, everybody. It's not a common conversation for people to have, by the way, because if somebody's on a supplement, like AJ's on a supplement, for instance, the On It commercial that AJ's on, that's making its round around Instagram right now. But let's say AJ is on some. Shout out to you, by the way. That's Joe Rogan business.
I mean, I know I've done stuff for them, and I don't know what commercial you're referencing though.
You'll see it.
So many.
Just go on the internet; it'll pop up in your timeline at the moment. They're taking advantage of the hotness that is AJ Hawk at the moment. But if you give me a supplement and I fail a test, I'm probably going to hate you forever. So there wasn't even a lot of like sharing of supplements. The conversation in the NFL locker room, and I might be completely ignorant here, and I feel like I talked to a lot of people in the locker room and there was not a lot of conversations about any of that shit. Like none of it. Because those supplements, they could be tainted just by being on a conveyor belt that some other supplement was on that had some shit you're not supposed to have. So there was like all these things, and guys would try to find stuff that was like beating the testing. I think there was probably guys that did that. But in the NFL, I feel like it was a much different world than the MLB back in the day. And I would assume the MLB now is much different than the MLB was back in the day. Watching that last night was the most eye-opening. It was like everybody in there had to know that, oh, this fucking guy just hit 60 home runs last season, 70 home runs this season, 60 in the history of the game. This has never happened. Everybody had to know. It was just the MLB didn't do anything about it.
Well, they got too far. It was already too far gone. It's like what Madoff in his Ponzi scheme. Like you always wonder what was the end game here, man. And he kept thinking like, all right, I'm going to figure this out. If I get enough people to keep giving me money, I can cover it up. I can figure a way out of this. I think Major League Baseball was in a situation where they weren't testing. It wasn't an issue for a while. Then all of a sudden, these guys take over the world, and you saw the one thing. If you watch that,
too much success. Too much success.
What's that?
Sorry.
What'd you say?
Well, I'm just thinking of the MLB commissioners and the people at the top. They're like, "Oh, we're having too much success right now.
Are high.
It is too much. Our ratings are too high. We have too many fucking eyes on us right now." There was somebody in like some office building like, "We gotta fucking slow. We need people to stop looking into us right now." There had to be that type of stuff happening.
Yeah, it got like too far down the road to where you're like, all right, we all of a sudden can't start testing in the middle of a season at some point. We know something's going to happen here. Like eventually the bubble's going to burst and everyone's going to know that all these dudes are juicing, but our game has never been more popular and guys are hitting home runs down the road out of the stadium.
Bouncing down the street. It was like Tin Cup when he fucking hits that. It was bouncing down the streets of Chicago. Yeah, you saw 2,000 people sprinting down a street in Chicago trying to get a home run ball that somebody just took 7,000 feet off of a pit. It was awesome, by the way. Every night was a home run derby potentially. I mean, watching that back, I was like, man, that's baseball. Like that.
I remember it a little bit. Like I was well, I think I was 13 or so around that time when all of this was happening, and it made me remember, like, oh yeah, that's when I watched baseball. Like this, I remember this now. Like it was so exciting. Like I think they would cut in towards the end. They would cut in towards every at bat that Sosa or McGuire would have wherever they were playing, just because you wanted to watch them hit dingers. And I would have loved to go to one of these games. I never did when I was a kid. It would be fun to go to a game when Mark McGuire was really in his prime.
5,000 people showing up at BP. They were televising batting practice for this fucking guys. Now we're at a point where the MLB season looks like it's not going to happen. The MLB Players Association gave the MLB owners and Manfred a deadline saying, hey, if you want us to come back, we need a roadmap by the end of today. So they got 3.5 hours, I guess, to make that happen. They say, tell us whatever you want to do. Tell us your plans. Let's figure this out. All the players just assume that the owners are delaying because they want a shorter season because they want to pay as much. The owners are saying that the players aren't negotiating in good faith, which they said, which means they could potentially breach contract because I assume negotiating in good faith is a part of the contract. I mean, this is getting messy. What if somehow, some way, they come to an agreement not to test for steroids anymore? What if this is the conversation? Hey, we all just saw the 30 for 30. We all remember when baseball was good. There's no way MLB could do that. There's no way they could just stop testing for stuff and promoting almost their players to do that.
They could without saying it, though. They could somehow.
That would save baseball.
Yeah.
That would save baseball.
Yep.
If that was to happen, now granted, whoever is taking it, their lives are getting shortened, and science has proven that it's not good for you. But that is a way, I think, sports talk shows, Pat McAfee says that the MLB should start pumping steroids in their players. But really, if you look at last night, they took over the world. I forgot how much they took over the world. Every stadium was packed out. Every single stadium was packed out. The world revolved around baseball there for that summer. And that... the only reason why anybody's revolving around baseball right now is for bad reasons. And I don't think in 2020 you could be a league that goes, we're not testing for weed.
Oh, really?
Basketball did.
Or any of the steroids. Take all the steroids that you want. Oh, shit! Boom! See you later. Pitchers are just going to be like, God damn it! Now we're back to this whole thing. I think that's what baseball would have to do. It's losing traction.
Do you think the same amount of guys would take it now, though?
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think now they're all scared of tainting their legacy. Like McGuire and Sosa, both, Barry Bonds, all of them, what they did. Like, yeah, you could say, sure, I may have juiced, but that didn't help me see the ball better. It didn't like really help my reaction time. Like it obviously gave me more power, probably helped me fight through some nagging injuries that would have sidelined me before, but I still had to hit the ball and make solid contact.
Well, long seasons, too. You would think something that helps you recover is 162 games in 185 days, they said last night. Well, I didn't know that was the schedule.
That's why HGH became very big, too, in Major League Baseball. I know a guy that was on the Mitchell Report. He was like, no one cared about me, but I showed up on there. I think he was talking about doing HGH one season. He said he was in year 15 or something. Someone said, hey, how many like Advil, Tylenol do you take a year? He's like, I don't know, 8 a day at least. He's like, your liver's dead, man. You're going to be killed. Why don't you take this injection of HGH? I think maybe once a week. I don't know how many times he had it, but he said it was amazing. He's like, that season I felt great. He's like, no, I was too old to really do anything about it, but I still felt really, really good and wish I had found this earlier in my career.
So what do? They just have people hanging around the locker rooms like, hey, we got this, we got this. It's like when you go to Washington, D.C. and you see the guys with the fake Oakleys and shit. Like, all right, we got HGH over here. Go to the guy in that corner. All right, you want some of the horse shit that'll make you strong and run faster? Go down to that guy in that corner. Like, I wonder how that all works. Does it all revolve around one guy, like the Balco guy who said he had to put Manny Ramirez to sleep every night? He said, I mean, that Screwball documentary was interesting. I just don't know where these humans come from that have all this, because these are scientists that their only objective is to make the human perform at the highest possible level and to get around tests. Like, that's what these scientists are doing. Who meets? How do they?
Well, McGuire's one brother is a professional bodybuilder, so I know he wrote a book too, talking about them two taking steroids together.
I assume Mark does not talk to him anymore.
Well, from the little research I did on this guy, I think Jay McGuire, he wrote a book talking about it, but he said he didn't do it to try to like disparage his brother. He was just kind of documenting it. I'm thinking, well, I doubt Mark feels that way.
I didn't do this to completely fuck over my brother who went in front of Congress and said he didn't do it, but we were definitely doing it. I mean, I remember I was getting ready for a show, and he was getting ready to, I think, hit 68 home run maybe, and we just said, hey, let's eat more tonight. It was an interesting little doc. Jerry Maguire also pretty good, different spelling.
I want to see a 30 for 30 on Roger Clemens, his whole situation.
Roger Clemens was eating steroids too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying he was. I just saying I think he
He
was such an
was.
awesome player. Remember when he threw the bat back, the broken bat at Piazza?
Oh, yeah.
That was incredible.
I don't remember Roger Clemens. I just remember people said his workouts were insane or something. He was
And he had the greatest schedule ever. At one point in his career, when he was older, when he wasn't pitching, he wouldn't travel with the team, and he would stay back and play golf. So he wouldn't even go there if he wasn't pitching.
That's the Rocket.
That's what I was.
That's right. That's the Rocket.
I think it's
baby.
what Fiegels did. Jeff Fiegels had that deal with the Giants towards the end of his punting career, where he wasn't at practice, I don't think, until maybe Saturday. He punted in a walkthrough, and then he punted at the game on Sundays. Because he was like 75 years old, still punting for the Giants or whatever. He punted a 41-yard ball right out of bounds every time. Boom, boom, boom. Could do
Perfect punter, right out of bounds.
I mean, yeah. I think, yeah, if he could do that every time. That's why he did it. He played until he was 50. But he got to a point where I don't even think he came to practice all week. He just showed up at the games. I always assumed Vinny would try to get on that schedule at some point. Like hey, I'll be in on like Fridays maybe to kick, and then I'll see you Sundays, and then Monday team meeting, obviously. But I need to be with my – no, Vinny's always like, I need to be here. Like
Too nervous to get cut.
this way, yeah, I need to be here. I need to be at every meeting. I'm like, hey, I love it. But if I was you, I'd be trying to stroke that resume a little bit more. Okay, there's a lot of meetings that we're currently sitting at that we should not fucking be at. And if you maybe said we shouldn't be here, maybe we'd both be out of here. But I'm sitting with a guy who's a fucking guaranteed Hall of Famer who thinks he's going to get cut tomorrow. So we can't even use his resume to get us out of anything, which made me better, by the way. Thank you to Adam Vinatieri for making me better, obviously.
But I guess, though, for kickers and punters, is your week really that stressful before
No.
a game?
No.
The game is. I would never want to be being a kid. I'm scared that one of my kids is going to be a kicker. Like, I will be so nervous for that.
I
do
get
not
nervous
want that to
watching
happen.
guys go out there now and kick. Like, I get nervous when I'm watching guys go out there and kick or punt or something like that, just because I know, like, how much is on the line. Not for that kid, his life, his future, his happiness, his team, the millions and millions of I mean, there's a lot on the line with every single time you go out there. And there's a chance it completely goes wrong. There's nothing you can
It
do.
doesn't even out. I feel like with kickers, it doesn't even out to where, say you're Justin Tucker in Baltimore. You're him and you hit 5,000 game winners. They're all like 70 yards plus. It doesn't even out. Like, okay, when you hit those, sure, people are like, oh yeah, great job, but they're not really pumping the kicker up too much. But you miss one and you have death threats and your whole life is over.
He missed an extra point. It was like the first time he missed an extra point in maybe 45 years or something like that, Justin Tucker's existence. And he had to go do a press conference afterwards because they ended up losing a game. And it was like, oh, Justin Tucker's lost it, this whole thing. And it was like, dude, this guy literally never fucking misses. Can we get off his ass a little bit? But that's the gig. Hey, that's the gig.
It's what you signed up for, right?
But it's terrible. You have a bad week. Like your week of practice, there's only so much you could do. I mean, how many times can I kick a ball? I kicked it a lot because I felt like without it, I wouldn't be good. But if you have a bad week, literally all you're thinking about that whole next week is, well, can't have 1 week turn into 2 weeks. Every single ball I kick now. But you never know until the day you show up, the game day. So it's a lot of just buying time. I started learning about the game a lot more. I started investing in other meeting rooms and stuff like that. I tried to learn a little bit.
Like, they would let you, like, if you wanted to go sit in with the running backs after practice, they would let you come in there.
Yeah, just kind of sit in the back, poke my head in. What's going on, boys? What are we doing? Quarterback room, I was in there. What's going on, boys? What are we doing?
I would think that you would be pretty disruptive, and most coaches would try to lock the door when they saw you coming.
No. Training camp, I was invited into rooms. A lot of like, hey, stop by.
They need some juice. They know their players need some juice. They're all so depressed and tired.
Yeah, so I'd poke my head in the offensive line room, whenever they're miserable, and just do a complete faux energy, rally them all around hating me, so that gives a little bit of energy. And I'm going to get out. All right, boys, I'm going to go fucking swing some clubs a little bit. You guys have a good one. Hey, best offensive line in the league this year is coming from this meeting right fucking here. Same shit you watched yesterday. It's coming out of this. Get the fuck out of here, McAfee. I'm going. I got a tea time. I'm out. I don't want to be here. I got to. And then I just go out. Yeah, I was like, thanks for stopping by. Hey, no problem. I got you.
That'd be such a love-hate relationship with you and all your teammates.
They knew. They knew that I knew. You know, they knew that I knew that it was. Listen, man, our lives are not comparable. You know, like this is just not. This is two different lives. We're living two very different existences at the moment. But just know that when it comes down to whether or not our offense get a first down, I'm a bomb a ball or two. Okay, I'm gonna do my thing, and then you guys can go try to make tackles if you want, and we'll just keep it moving. And we had good agreement. I think it was pretty good understanding.
Yeah, they knew the value that you brought to the team, so they respected it. They could put up with your fake energy, your fake enthusiasm, and sarcasm throughout the day.
If I stunk, by the way, you can't talk. I think that's what people don't fully understand about me. I was very quiet publicly for like my first 3 years in the league because I stunk. But then once I got good, it was hard to keep me down. It was hard. It was hard to keep me quiet. You know what I mean? It was hard to do it. Robert Mathis, one of the quietest men I've ever encountered. He's getting inducted into the Colts Ring of Honor, I believe November 22nd or November 11th. That guy's the man. The Ring of Honor, that's a pretty cool thing that the team that you played for says, you know what, this guy's one of our guys. We want to celebrate him for the rest of our existence. I think I'm happy for Robert. Very, very, very well deserved.
Very much, yeah, definitely well deserved. Is he on the staff there in Indy, or is he just coaching like pass rush? Is he like a pass rush specialist that guys go to?
Yeah, so he started this football camps called the Gridiron Gang, where he has offensive linemen there, a former NFL offensive lineman. He's there training. It's very good. It's like they're training free agents and guys in the offseason, and he's gaining a lot of steam. But he was working with the Colts coaching staff, but I think he turned his attention directly to the Gridiron Gang training because the things that he teaches are things that I think can make everybody a great pass rusher. Playing below the belt. He was using his hands and a lot of that stuff before anybody else. I would assume that you could speak to this better than me, but the reason why Robert was so good is he got off the ball fast, right? Got off the ball very fast. He was able to move. People called him undersized, but he was able to get low, and he had these incredible hand skills that were just so good. And him and Dwight Freeney were just an absolute menace off the edge. And I think he wants to give back to the game in that sense by trying to teach everybody what John Tierlink and he grew and learned from there.
Well, yeah, when it comes to, like, if you're strictly like an edge rusher, or even if you're an interior D lineman, like those guys work on their hands and their moves all the time. Like, that's something that you're never going to master. But like a guy like Mathis and Freeney, all these guys that are studs rushing the passer, that's something like every day for multiple hours. They're things like that. They're working little things that may not seem like a whole lot, but they got to come up with a move. And then you have I've heard great pass rush. Like, you get it one move, and then one move that's your go-to, and then have a counter off of that. That's all you need. Like, you don't need a bunch.
I had 4 moves. You know what I mean?
What were they? Let's hear it.
Well, good question. Thanks for asking. I had the Cobra where I would strike, ping, forehead to forehead.
Your head? Huh? You better get your hands in there.
Well, yeah. Well, I would ping, and then you know what I mean. I had the shed, the punch and shed. Okay. Yep. Obviously, I had a swim over the top, push, swim over the top.
Definitely swim that high. It always works when you expose your ribs.
Yeah. That's what you want to do. You want to get it all the way open there so they can even get up underneath where there's no pads. And then obviously, I had to swipe. The swipe. You know the swipe. Swipe. You know what I mean?
Man, if they would have just put you out there and unleashed you in a 3-point stance on the edge.
Oh, yeah, I'll rip too. Yeah, I'm a 5-tool player. Yeah.
You got to dip. Yeah, you got to dip and rip, right?
Dip's going to be tough now. When I dip, you dip, we dip. And when we dip, we fall. So that's kind of a problem. But I do got a good rip. I will say this. When I played Pee Wee football in Plumboro for like 4 weeks of my life, because I went to a practice with my friend. And when I was there, they said, hey, do you want to put on some pads and try? And I said, sure. It was Diggs' team. I played for like 4 weeks. They put me in a one-on-one drill as a D lineman. Still haven't been stopped. Still have not been stopped to this day. I think I went undefeated in it. I should have probably stuck with that, to be honest, now that we see how much money everybody has. But that was one day of work.
How old were you?
12.
Yeah, 12
13.
maybe. 12.
So you were rushing, you were one-on-one against an offensive lineman?
Yeah.
Where is that offensive lineman? He probably played in the league 12, 15 years.
Well, he's probably on the ground just like he was for his one-on-ones. I gave him a nice. I was bigger than these guys though. Too. I was big at the time. So and fast.
Hey, you know what's the worst though? I'm sure you've seen this a few times online. I don't want to say the worst. There's a lot of bad things out there. So I take that back. You know what's not great is some of these clips online of these like high school kids at camps when they're just wearing helmets and they do pass rush. and someone's like, "Oh man, look at this guy, he's a monster," and he's bull rushing this poor tackle with no pads on. When anyone knows, like when you're not wearing pads, the bull rush is not an option. Like you're not gonna bull without pads, and these dudes will run these poor tackles over and like, "Oh man, you got to get this dude a scholarship, give him 5 stars." And absolutely not. He's bull rushing with no pads.
Well, and how about it's literally on an island, one offensive lineman versus a D lineman who can go wherever. And like, oh, this offensive lineman got fucking cooked or whatever. It's like, well, that guy in no game of football will have to pivot down 3 yards inside. That will never. There are some of those drills that are set up for people to fail, like down to Senior Bowl. They always have those one-on-ones, offensive line, defensive line. And I forget who, but one side always on the internet has an advantage over the other side for whatever reason. But I don't mind mixing it up, watching mono a mono. Sometimes the individual one-on-one periods are the best periods to watch in training camp, in practice, wide receivers, DBs, seeing what young guy wants to step up and get cooked by one of the veterans who's just such a smarter football player than you are that you have no idea what's happening. I mean, there's so many little intricacies and things that go into all of that that's so impressive. But there's some of those one-on-one drills that are nowhere near realistic, and people just get cooked on them.
Oh, they're so unrealistic. And a lot of times you do those in training camp when the practice is open to the public and the media for the whole time. There's no other time during the season where the media is going to be there late in the practice when you're doing stuff like that. And I do remember guys in Green Bay, especially O-linemen and like edge rushers, getting so mad because the local beat writers would grade it. And they'd say, oh, Clay Matthews was 0 for 4 today on pass rush against Bakhtiari. And then Clay would get wind up. He's like, are you kidding me, man? Like, first off, it's called practice. So I'm working on maybe some new moves that I want to use this year. And by the way, it's not even close to realistic in what game's going to be like.
My favorite recent one was Richard Sherman was working on something in one-on-ones against Marquise Godwin. Or Goodwin. Good one. Marquise Goodwin. He's got jets, obviously, and this is when Sherman just went to San Francisco. He negotiated his own contract, so you already know agents hate him. So if he negotiates his own contract, agents hate him, which means the media wants to be negative towards him regardless, especially with everything that had happened. And in training camp, Richard might have been working on something. Maybe he was working on just something as small as stepping off of maybe his big, like there's little things there that you get off the line quick enough, and he gets smoked or whatever, and everybody's like, Sherman's lost it. Look at fucking Goodwin, cook him or whatever. I'm like, it's practice. Like maybe he was trying a completely different style. Have we thought about him just trying something new, maybe to become a better player, and it didn't work out, and that's why he's getting roasted on the internet now? Because turns out, by the way, Sherman still got it. Still got it.
Don't you remember after that, Pat? A big reason why, a reason I think Kyle Shanahan is an awesome coach. He knew what that happened. He knew Sherman was getting heat all over the internet, all this stuff. I think he took that footage, he played it in the team meeting room, and he praised Sherman for taking chances and not taking the easy way out, because a lot of times they know, okay, hey, one-on-ones, I know media, I know this is a video out there for people, they're going to see this. I could give this guy a bunch of cushion, maybe let him catch him underneath routes. That's never going to make it viral. That's not going to go on the internet like, oh, hey, Sherman gave up a 10-yard out. So Sherman got up there and actually took chances and was trying to work on something, got beat deep and didn't care what was going to happen afterwards. And Shanahan praised him for that. And I love Shanahan for doing it.
Just the immediate reactions to things that happen in practice. I'm like, these guys, because they're working on. Sometimes guys want to get better at something, so they're working.
It's called practice.
Poor guys.
You better not be perfect in practice. Like everything better not go right in practice, because you're not getting any better. You're not working on anything.
By the way, and to say all that, I never, ever, ever worked on anything whenever people were around. Ever. Never. Whenever those training camp practices or those drills would happen, hey, Tom McMahon, don't know how to tell you, this is going to be a fucking home run derby today, pal. I don't know where you want it to go. Just know it's going to go a long, long, long way. That's
don't they like reporters during camp, wouldn't they take down your times, like your hang time?
Oh, yeah. My op time, too. These motherfuckers that are trying to get a 2-second thumb, like their thumb is anywhere near accurate. I mean, that takes like years of practice to do.
First rule is you can't use your thumb. You got to use your pointer finger.
Yeah, bingo. Yeah. So there's always that type of stuff. It's overreaction. And punt's always the first period. So with the emergence of social media, the first thing anybody's going to talk about is the punt period. I learned that very quickly. I'm like, all right, like this is, I'm going to go kick a 70-yard field goal in warm-ups. All right, let me just go ahead and do that. Let me knock that out real quick. And then for this punt period, you might tell me right, you might tell me left. I'm just telling you they're going to go far. I don't know. Pat, come on. I'm just going to let you know that these people are here for a show, and that's what I'm going to fucking do. Okay, so I'm going to hit the ball. Whenever we work all by ourselves, I'll do whatever you got to do, but I'll try to get it into the direction of where it's supposed to go, but know that I'm swinging as hard as I can at these things. And that's kind of mentally soft of me, to be honest, because last thing you want to do, work on a brand new ball, hit 7 shanks in front of the whole crowd. Then you just have, McAfee stinks. This guy, get him out of here. Let's bring in somebody. Well, maybe I was just working on like a brand new punt that could potentially change the game, but you're right. I stink. I mean, I'll get out of here. So instead, I took the easy way out mentally and just fucking bombed it every time.
Well, basically, so all you're saying is that, and all we're to review what we've talked about for the last 10 minutes, anything that comes out of a training camp, any kind of news about how somebody is playing is garbage, probably.
Potentially, but also potentially accurate.
Yeah, some of it's accurate, but think about stuff that's a big deal during training camp, like week 2 of camp means 0 once the season starts. Like if that dude goes and plays, you could say this guy's having the worst camp of his life, and all of a sudden through the first 4 games, he has 7 sacks. He's in the MVP talks.
Guess who cares? Nobody. Yeah, training camp conversation's a bunch of bullshit. By the way, training camp, July 28th.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know.
Has that come out? Anyone other than you said that yet?
Nope, and it has not been quoted anywhere, by the way. Like I thought for sure that it would be like via Pat McAfee on McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. Training camps will all be July 28th. The news is starting to filter out from every team's reporter. Is that like individual reporters are starting like, our team will be reporting, blah, blah, blah. We'll be reporting on 28th, blah, blah, blah. I'm just here to let you know, blanket statement, all the motherfuckers are reporting 28th, okay? Except for the Hall of Fame game, and the rookies are going to come a little bit earlier. Just no big deal.
So is that the first day that they are allowed to report?
Yeah, I'd assume. I don't know. I didn't think
Then why do teams usually, there's always like different times when other teams report?
Yeah, I don't fully understand it either.
It's up to the coach. A lot of times, up to the coach. Like, hey, I don't need. If they say the 25th, I can come in. I don't need 3 or 4 extra days. Like we're going to come in 28th.
What do you? I think you're allowed 17 days. Is that what it is? 17.
Now the rules are so. I don't understand it.
There's some rules, and then now everybody's going to be at their facility, so it's going to be even different. But some people just, try to do the overkill model. Like, we're going to need every practice. They're giving us 17 days. We're going to use all 17 days. And some coaches are like, listen, I'll give you a couple of days here at the beginning, but when you get here, we need to be diligent in. We need to dial it in a little. There's just a couple different ways to coach, a couple different styles, and all that shit. All that
matters is what you do once the regular season starts.
Tom
no
Brady.
matter how you're scheduled, you can get, if you're a coach, you can get criticized for your practice schedule. You're not doing enough. You're doing too much. You're hitting too much. You're not hitting enough. But all that matters is that product you put on the field once the regular season starts, not even the preseason. If
you win, nothing else matters. Winning cures literally everything.
And if you lose, they will go back and go through some of the stories they wrote during training camp and say, yeah, we said they weren't hitting enough in training camp. And look at them. They've been getting people running all over the place on these guys.
I told you all that this coach choosing not to use all 17 days of practice and allowing his team to maybe have 2 less days of training camp while everybody else was getting better would come back and bite him in the ass. And look what happened. Imagine what could have been added in that 1 extra day of training camp. Imagine what could have been put in there. This is on the coaches making a poor decision. Then if they win the next week, maybe they're starting to figure it out. Maybe. It's just everything is just riding a wave. Overreaction Monday is my favorite day of the fall.
Yeah.
I counted 7 teams completely out of the league. I crowned, I think, 4 people as Super Bowl champs this year on Overreaction Monday, and none of it matters because you just ride the wave, baby. Hey, you hit the barrels. You shred the barrel of the wave and just go for it. What's up, Diggs?
So I have an answer. Teams used to be required to report 15 days before their preseason opener, but now they all must report on July 28th, which is 47 or 48 days before week 1 of the regular season.
Who just said that they're all reporting on 28th? Or?
Adam Schefter.
Wow. Kidding.
He reported. He wrote this on June 10th.
He beat you to it.
No.
Look at the records.
Mitt. This is what we have the minutes for, Mitt. Yep. Go back through, please. Fucking A. Mitt was on a booze bus all weekend. Like, is he asleep right now?
Yeah.
He beat you by a day.
No!
Yours was Thursday, if I'm correct.
Well, no, are you correct or not?
You're probably not.
Because I was not here, but I remember watching it. It was definitely either Tuesday or Thursday.
Tuesday, probably.
so
probably
no.
Tuesday.
I
then.
think
Probably
it was
Tuesday. Probably Tuesday.
You probably beat him by a day.
You don't remember anything, Mitt. That's kind of part of the problem. He was out for a Sweet 16 this weekend on a booze bus where they were packed 50 deep on top of each other. Didn't even know coronavirus existed.
No masks.
What sophomore in high school turned 16 and he's hanging out with?
Great question. I have the same question as his pseudo boss, Mitt. You have anything to say about that?
It was the 21st birthday.
They look like they're 12.
You guys weren't social distancing?
Oh,
Did you get a party
God.
bus?
Oh, you should see this
No
photo.
idea.
They're sitting on top of each other. The bus wasn't big enough for the amount of. They needed one size bigger. They were all just spitting on top of each other, basically.
All
Where did
drinking
you go-
out of the
where did you
same
go?
drinks.
Just a bunch of Noblesville, a couple different Noblesville bars.
There's a small town in Indiana called Noblesville. They got a little. They got a. Didn't even need a bus, by the way. Probably just walk around in a circle or whatever.
Mitt, you are a bag of bricks, dude.
Mitt's living, dude. Mitt's living.
You're right. Everyone there looks like they're 14.
Have you seen the photo? Are we showing the photo right now?
Do you want me to show
Yeah,
it?
pull it up.
Do not show it. Says Mitt. They publicly tweeted it. This is on you.
You
Not on us.
retweeted
Yeah.
it, Mitt.
Yeah, this is on you.
That's fair.
Look at this. Look at Mitt living his best
is
life.
like-
There's 7,000 people in that
Hey,
booze
this
bus.
is something, Pat, that if this was put out right now, like if someone put this out, they'd be like, hey, just to be clear, this was taken back in November before the COVID situation. You wouldn't be
Not
able to
Mitt,
put
though. Mitt's like, this was yesterday. Just want to let you know. This is-
party ever.
Got Liddy on the bus.
So can you all go into don't bars have don't restrictions on how many people can go in?
a lot of patio stuff going on right now. But Indiana, outside of Indianapolis, Indiana, which is like the state around the Indianapolis.
I don't know what you're talking. Will you explain that? I'm not sure.
Okay,
what
so
you're talking
Indianapolis is still on like phase 2, I believe, like phase 2 or something like. But everywhere else is phase 5 at this point, phase 4, phase 5, which is basically wide open. So Indianapolis has been locked down a lot more than the rest of the state where he was at. They're probably 2 to 3 weeks past caring about coronavirus happening.
Phase 0.
I guess you picked the right place for what you were doing.
Well, that's why the booze hounds went there. Right?
Yeah.
You saw the whole bus. They're all in the same. They're all in the same booze bag mindset as Mitt. But could
I want to
you-
know what's going on inside Mitt's brain. Like,
Nothing.
He doesn't know.
Absolutely nothing.
He's trying to figure out when the next.
Where's Habu Dhabi?
I need a beer. I thought give me a beer.
Bro, I got a Madden game with a case on the line. this afternoon, bro.
Please.
Could you imagine being 21 right now? Could you imagine being 21 right now in the world that we're currently in? Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Dude, I got a Madden game with a case on the line.
That's what he does. That's what this kid does. He shows up late every day. I mean, he actually doesn't show up late every day. Kid shows up relatively on time, ready to go. Today he was pretty good, but I think back to 21-year-old me a lot whenever we're dealing with old Mitt here. Jesus, I can't believe the kid's still here. I'd have been like, yeah, next week maybe, man. I'll see. All right.
Hey, are you going to talk about Zeke? I'm just curious if you think, are Cowboys fans happy that Zeke tested positive for COVID because he might not get it again?
Great spin zone.
Yes.
Great spin zone right there. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. I don't think anybody knows if the antibodies prove that you never get COVID.
Yeah, I didn't say you can't. I don't know. I think it's up in the air. They don't know if you can get it again or if you're immune once you get it.
You were just saying that Cowboys fans could potentially be thinking because he got chicken pox one time, he'll never get chicken pox again.
Yeah, like are they thinking, okay, good, we don't have to worry about losing Zeke for 2 or 3 weeks during the season if he tests positive?
I don't think any professional athlete is going to miss time from the COVID-19 unless it is forced to happen via quarantine. I don't know.
Will. But what do you mean? If someone tests positive once the season starts, which they will, they're going to quarantine them.
But we don't know if that's the case. Ohio State has players. You should know this in your backyard. Ohio State has its players signing waivers that they understand the risk for potential COVID-19. Now, I don't know if that means, hey, if you get COVID-19, you're not going to be quarantined. I don't know if that means like, hey,
No,
what's up?
It means that you can't come back and sue us by saying we forced you to come here. That's all it is.
Well, I think a lot of people are going to make that move, though. Like, I think that is how tickets are going to be going forward. Whenever you go to a live event, there's going to be something on there. When you click buy, you are agreeing to the terms that you understand that COVID-19 could potentially be in the place that you're at. I think this is just the way it's going to go. So Zeke getting it, obviously, I hope he's okay. T's and P's to Zeke. I hope he doesn't get a bad strand of that thing, which was taking, obviously, a lot of people out. But I think we're going to come to a point in time where it's just like, it might be weird if you haven't had it. They're talking about the number of Ohio State players that had it. They're talking about other teams, the amount of people that had it. I mean, we're still only, 3 months into this COVID-19, 4 months into the knowledge of this COVID-19. I don't think we know anything about COVID-19. I don't think we have a clue what the life is going to be like in 2 months from now, whether it's back on lockdown because numbers are going high or whether it's completely free, just like, COVID-19 is a part of our life now. I don't think anybody has a clue about what's going on. I would assume that some people are a bit alarmed that Ezekiel Elliott got it because he's in such great shape, but then people are I don't know. I think we don't know anything about what's going to happen with the future and how normal COVID-19 is going to be going forward as a life, as a human here.
Yeah, well, everyone's trying to figure out, I guess, on the run, and there's not a group of people that make all the decisions for everybody. Everyone's kind of looking to somebody else to figure out what to do.
Well, in which stat do you go to? You go to one person, they tell you something. Oh, okay, I think I get it. And then you open up another thing. It's like, well, wait a fucking minute. That goes against everything of this person. Oh, but wait, there's a third idea. You have no way. Everybody's trying to get their point out. And I would assume so history can tell us who was right. So like in 10 years, somebody who was saying something about, I said, while everybody else was saying, I said, blah, 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 blah. That's happening, I think, a lot in the world right now. So people can predict what COVID-19 is. And I'd like to say this is my prediction. Nobody has a motherfucking clue what's going to happen 1 day from now, let alone 2 months from now. So I believe that the world is going to go on as normal until we're either shut down completely or completely back to full freedom. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I think I don't know. I have no clue. I have no answers. I don't claim to have any answers.
Oh, that's what we need. I need a guy who doesn't have a medical degree asking me, a guy who knows nothing about medicine, to talk about COVID-19. It's the last thing we fucking need. That was Bill Burr with Rogan.
I know, I heard.
Great interview.
Oh, yeah, I love when Bill got into it. I'm not going here, Joe. We talked about masks. Joe has some strong feelings towards masks, and Bill didn't even want to get into it. It was perfect.
I'm not even getting into that. Go ahead.
Zeke just tweeted to address the issue, and he said HIPAA with 2 question marks.
Oh, he's wondering how his information's getting leaked to people because there is a doctor-patient agreement by the government that goes by is that?
Oh, no. It's HIPPA, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what they stand for either.
Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act.
Yep, so he spelled it right. True. I don't know how his information gets out there. This is just like the Wonderlic scores that get released. It feels like Ezekiel Elliott's wondering, how come I'm not treated how everybody else is treated in the health world with my information when people are telling me that that's the case? I understand why he's not happy.
Who was the first to report it? Who was the first one to go public with Zeke testing positive?
Good question.
We had Pro Football Talk on ours. I don't know if that was the first one, but
And Florio is plugged in.
It wouldn't be them. Florio wouldn't be in trouble. It'd be who would get in trouble is who gave the information to him.
Hold on. So didn't Schefter had the doctor that had Jason Pierre-Paul's x-rays? Remember that? That was almost like a full thing because of the HIPAA violation. The doctor, though, was the one that sent it directly to either Schefter or whoever it was. This HIPAA thing has been brought up for a lot of these NFL insider informations because, Zeke's probably not pumped about maybe his family finding out he's got it before anybody else.
well, what if it was Dak Prescott? He's in the middle of a contract negotiation. Does that affect anything if it was him?
Yeah, don't want to pay the guy because we don't know what's going to happen in 2 months. That
Got
would be
Andy
just
Dalton back there.
my hands don't get cramps while writing checks unless that check is to a motherfucker that got COVID-19.
Well, Zeke and Dak, remember? What was it, a month ago? They had some party.
By the way, earlier I almost said that when I was talking, but I didn't want to throw them under the bus, so I actually stopped in the middle of my sentence. But since you decided to throw them under the bus for that, you're right.
I'm not saying that's where any of them would have gotten. I'm not disparaging them for having a get together.
It looks like Rappaport may have been first with it, and he said that Zeke's agent confirmed it to him. So,
Well, hey, how's it going? You're fired. Get the fuck out of here. To the agent? What a question. Every once in a while, we like to dive deep into the annals of the internet, the most beautiful place on the internet, the YouTube comment section, for some YouTube questions.
YouTube questions
What do we got, Zeke?
from Gabriel Barrentos. What is your guys' most treasured memorabilia?
Oh yeah, that guy, $3 million for that baseball last night, 2.7 something, and then another 300 in taxes and all that other shit. $3 million for a baseball. You might as well find a bridge and jump the fuck off of it. That is next level, unbelievable. I appreciate the fact that sports memorabilia can mean that much to somebody and stuff like that, but I mean, come on, pal. You got it. My most treasured piece of memorabilia is probably this AJ Hawk painting that's right over my shoulder here of him taking a shit. I think that is it. I don't know. I understand people like memorabilia. I understand that people do jersey swapping. I understand that people get autographs. I just have never been that person. And maybe I'm wrong. But I've always felt awkward asking people for their autograph. I've told the story where a lot of my friends wanted Peyton's autograph and I just started forging that thing. I mean, it's just, I don't fully understand that world, but damn, I guess there's a ton of money in it.
I mean, there is, but with this baseball, he paid almost $3 million for it. Is there any chance that he could sell it for even half that?
Maybe. I don't know if there's other comics out there like him that have or comic book drawers that are like
You got to
him.
be a big McGuire fan, right?
Or a baseball fan, I guess, because some of that baseball stuff just goes.
Did you see how many balls he had too? He had like I think he had like 20 or 30 of McGuire's home run balls that season.
He has Bond's 73rd ball too.
Oh, wow.
He only paid $500,000 for that one.
So I would assume some baseball fan that's ridiculously wealthy would probably be up for that. It's just like Irsay. Irsay buys up all of this music stuff. Like he put the entire Beatles original instruments together. I guess if you have just a ridiculous amount of money, you could get into collecting stuff like that. But for me, it doesn't make much sense to me.
If it means anything to you, a baseball card, Honus Wagner, went for $3.12 million.
Yeah, it's Honus Wagner rookie card.
yeah. Well, he's an absolute legend. So
And then Mickey Mantle, 2.8.
How many are those autograph signings? Probably a lot, huh? Over there at Ohio State, I assume they got you guys doing a lot of them after you graduate.
Yeah, I chose to do a decent amount of them, yeah.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of money in that. Like I've heard stories about Ohio State memorabilia deals after you graduate. That
It was
are
the
just,
greatest thing ever. I hit it hard. I was still in school, working out for the combine, and I drove around the state of Ohio.
I've heard these stories from people in the locker room. They're like, "Oh, Ohio State. As soon as you graduate, you go on this autograph tour where you're just collecting checks." I'm like, "Really? West Virginia? I went down to Charleston. I signed some things, got a couple $100, and then I wrestled a guy named Warp." That's what I did. But what was that? What's that autograph company I did? Tops?
Yeah.
Have you ever done a Tops deal or whatever? Is that what it was? Panini? Was it Panini?
Where they send you like 1,500 cards and you have to sign them?
Have you ever done that before?
Yeah.
Did you sign them all?
Yeah.
Not me, dog.
We're on a public forum. Yes, I did. My roommate definitely didn't sign any of them.
You did not sign any of them?
No, yes, I did sign them. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. They'd send you like 1,000 cards, like, hey, get these done by the end of the week and send them back.
Yeah, bingo. I did not.
Did you have the kids help you out?
No, this is only time I was doing that. I was right after I got done at Ohio State, and then maybe my rookie year.
So I never had a card, a player's card, when I was in the league. Like, never had one. So then I saw one that started floating out there. It was like a Legends card. And I had my long hair. It was a good shot. I was pretty pumped. I was like, thank you for making that a card. That started floating out there. And then this Panini and Topps, are they the same thing?
I don't know.
Different.
I forget who it was. Panini. Somebody called
Yours
me.
was Panini, though. I remember
Yeah,
that.
Panini called, and they said, would I sign some cards, like maybe 2,000 of them or something like that. And I was pumped that I even had a card, right? I'm like, okay, I got a card. Here we go. I said, sure, I'll do that. We came to an agreement on a price. They tried to fuck me completely in their first offer. I told them, zero chance. I've lived this long without a card. I'm 100% okay going forward. So they sent me like in a batch of like 1,000 and another 1,000. I got done with that first 1,000. I told him just keep check. I ain't signing anymore. I'm not doing this. It was you got on this tiny little sliver of anything. You can't touch the thing because you smear it, and I wanted to make it look like I actually signed every single one with the same amount of effort on the first one as the last one. And I was like, I'm never doing this ever again. It's just like whenever the holidays come around and the team asks you to sign, there it is. There it is.
That's one of 1,000 right there.
That's one of the 1,000.
I remember those small pieces of paper.
They were
right?
tiny. That little thing that little thing, that little, what's that?
Rectangle?
Rectangle, I guess. Yeah, but it has rounded edges. But I guess it's still a rectangle. That thing, there's like 100 of them on a page stacked on top of each other, just right on top of each other. And with the marker, you can obviously smear because it's like a thing. So you have to sign these and like lift your hand up. And I was like, I have a lot more respect for the people that do this all day, every day, but it ain't for me, dog. And I don't even know if they ever paid me. I don't think they ever paid me. I just
What?
Yeah, but I still got a whole half rack sitting in my
Here we go.
sitting in my office over there. So it's like,
Probably breach of contract. You signed a contract saying you'll sign 2,000 cards. You quasi signed 1,000. So yeah, they probably don't owe you any money.
no, not quasi. I fully signed every single one, and because I fully signed every one, I'm like, I'm never fucking doing that again.
How tired was your signature in this one?
That one's pretty early. That seems like it's pretty early.
But it's like different cards though. It's pretty weird. I didn't realize it was.
You can see the real action in my M, A, and F if you want to really tell what point I'm at. Like in Christmas, did you guys have to sign 1,000 balls for sponsors and everything?
Yeah, I think around Christmas time, not 1,000, but we would sign stuff.
So we had, I think it was 1,000. They would have 500 on one, 500 on the other, and they would split the team in half. So you only had to sign 500 balls, right? And every member of the team would get one of the balls that you sign, and then they would give them out to sponsors and all that. Those poor balls that are down at the end, like whenever, because you'd move from this side of the table where you would come in, check your name, sign up, do whatever, and then that was the same day they would have the flu shot and all this shit. So then as you would go down, the entire, which I never got, woke,
Smart.
Yeah, me either.
Stay woke.
Smart.
super woke. One time I did it because they talked me into it. Needle actually bent. Didn't go in. So
Clark Kent.
that's a real story. The person that gave me the shot has told that story to other people too. Because I told the story, nobody believed me because I wanted to keep the needle. Obviously, I was like, "Can I keep that?" Because I bent the fucking thing. No, can't do it. She has gone on to tell the story. She's actually in my brother's friends group. Bent the fucking needle, threw it into the little red trash thing because it was used needle. I was like, "It wasn't used. It was broken. Give me that back." Didn't get the flu shot after that. Still have yet to get it.
So
But-
wait,
But the autographs at the end were done for. Just the
I don't
worst
care about
autographs.
the autographs. I'm just curious about this needle that you supposedly bent.
Not
How far in
supposedly.
did she
This
go?
is facts. What's that?
How far in did she go with this needle?
Didn't even crack. I was like, I was Superman. Fucking just see you later. Turn. Don't even crack the skin.
Just dog leg left instantly, right when it hit your skin.
I've never been more happy with myself too. Like it hurt a little bit, obviously, because it just was like jabbing in there. But then it turned, and I was like, "Am I the guy? Am I impenetrable? Am I?" And then it was like a quick, like throw it away type thing. It was Dugdale's wife. She told a story later when I was there, and I was like, "Thank God you told this story because I've been talking about this for years. Nobody believes me." Just like the Uber driver where I took his car, nobody believes me until Jordan Palmer comes in and says, "My Uber driver just said you fucking took his car from him."
And the deer. Nobody believes you about the deer either.
Yeah, I shot a deer. Actually, didn't shoot a deer. Gave a deer a heart attack. It died. Ask Tim McAfee. I mean, these are things that just happen. Wait until I'm playing in the NBA because I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
Yeah, they're going to take some scabs, right? So what, these players came together like a bunch of the stars and they had like a conference call themselves just to talk about the issues?
ESPN is saying that all their conversations, they do not feel as if this is going to slow down July 31st happening. Now, Kyrie Irving, Dwight Howard, the conversation that they led about, I would assume the availability to go do something against social injustice or taking the attention away from these current protests that are going on. I would assume that there's a lot of pressure from some of these players to be like, hey, we don't want to be a part of a distraction for a pivotal part in our country and our culture's history right now. So I understand that feeling. But for me, as a very dumb outsider, I feel like by July 31st, I'm not 100% sure how many protests and messages are going to be gaining worldwide attention like this NBA playoffs will happen down in Orlando. I think there's a potential greater spotlight that could be used. Now, if you're obviously upset because you're going to be locked in Orlando for 35 to 40 days at minimum. I can understand that. I would be very upset about that. But I think there's a chance to potentially shine an even brighter spotlight on the social injustices that we would all like to see get fixed from this thing. It's just whether or not the guys choose to do so or not. I think there's a lot of conversations that have to happen, but ESPN said that those conversations in their eyes have not led them to believe that basketball won't happen on July 31st.
Yeah, I would think it's going to happen. Don't you? Like, I don't.
I think
I
so.
don't see it just derailing the season.
But the NBA, at the end of the day, Kyrie Irving talking and Dwight Howard and whoever else, I assume that this is a good way to get into a conversation with the NBA to set up something so they can continue to shine a light on this during this. Like maybe the NBA will say, hey, each player will get a press conference after each game. They can use it however. Coaches, like maybe there'll be a way to really, with Kyrie Irving and Dwight Howard stating what they're thinking, Adam Silver saying, all right, well, we hear you. Let's try to work together on this to figure this out and make something even better. I think that would be cool because this one court, 20-some cameras, 6 games a day. I mean, it sucks for the players that have to be locked down there for 40, 80 days, whatever it'll end up being. But, man, from an entertainment standpoint and a spotlight standpoint, that feels like that's going to be a very, very, very large one, especially with how the internet operates. All you need is, one highlight 10 a.m. down there, and then all day it's just off and running. Here we go.
Yeah, the quarantine situation with these players, it's going to be weird. And, yeah, they're going to have to be away from their families probably and friends, and they can't go out. But it may – for a couple teams, like it may create something really cool that they could take and use as momentum. Like it's like going to summer camp and there's nothing else around and you guys are locked down together. Like you're going to go one way or the other. Either your team's going to pull together or they're going to kind of break apart because there's nowhere else to go. You're going to be with each other the whole time.
Whoa! Hey, did you see my step back on Friday? Oh, I'm getting ready. I am getting ready for replacement player tryouts, dude.
Think they'll have tryouts for that?
I put it on the internet. That was my tryout. I only got one move. Only need one move. You know what I mean?
Step back.
Step back.
Create space.
Just a quick little. Oh, how's it going? Oh, the white guy can't dribble. White guy can't dribble. Doesn't matter. Whoa! Step. Splash Fest. Splash Factory. How's it going? Pretty splashy over here.
Bang.
Bingo.
But for them to respect your step back, though, Pat, you're going to have to threaten them. You're going to have to drive to the hole a few times and be successful with it.
I mean, I guess I'll dunk one, okay? I guess I'll dunk one early if I have to. If I have to get it on film, I'll get it on film.
Can't wait. So you're going to play for the Lakers. I'm going to go play for the Clippers then. Hopefully we can go head-to-head.
Oh, good luck, bub, when I'm coming through. You know what I mean? AJ, I see you underneath. I just want to let you know.
Get out the way.
I'm coming, and I'm going, hee, with hand on crotch, by the way, Marshawn Lynch. Hee. You know what I mean? I'm coming in. So take charge or do what you got to do, pal, but.
I don't take charges. I promise you, I will not take a charge.
What's that all about?
I despise people that take charges. That's what derailed my high school basketball career.
Hey, I despise punters that flop.
Do you?
Yeah.
But it's part of the game. You could get your teams another possession.
So are charges.
No.
They are.
No, charges are just guys that got beat and are trying to take some excitement out of the game and have a stupid flop on the ground when a guy beats somebody, he gets by you, and you want to stand there still. Who cares? If I knock you over and your feet are set, I don't care. Like, get out of the way. I just don't
basketball,
like
baby. You know, you like soccer floppers?
See, I soccer floppers are so like absurd and over the top that I'm starting to like it, I think.
Yeah, because the theatrics of it all.
And aren't they doing it to delay the game for whatever reason?
There's a lot of reasons, yeah. They're trying to get a call, trying to catch a little breath. They bring out that magic spray, which is just cold water, basically, or cold air that gets. I got a magic spray right to my chest whenever we were playing France because they put one guy put his cleat through my chest, my sternum. Just went straight up, straight ahead. Just a straight ahead kick right to my chest. Happened to me. Had all of the studs right in my body, you know, because I'm such a Caucasian male. And the French trainer came running over to me because he was closest, and it said "Magnifique spray," and they just started spraying my chest, and I was like, I don't know if that's helped. don't know if it's helping. So, I mean, there's the magic spray has a lot of reason to buy time to potentially get a call. Punters that flop, though, I do not love. I do not love it. I do not enjoy it.
What are the rules now? With like, there's running into the kicker, and then there's
Yeah.
the 15-yarder. What's the difference?
So if you run into the kicking leg, it's a 15-yarder. Run into the plant leg, it's only a 5-yarder. So
I'd rather run into my kicking leg than my plant leg, though.
yeah,
If you hit my plant leg while it's planted, that's when I can tear my ACL.
yeah. I think if you tear an ACL on a plant leg, though, it's still going to be a roughing. Like I think there are rules. I think there is a little bit of a judgment call type thing, but it's whether or not you go past the kick. I don't know. I don't know how any of it works, really. I don't fully get it.
Well, the refs don't either, so we're good.
I got killed a couple times, and they did not blow a whistle. I mean, there's that one with I posted it a couple times. I wish there's no way you guys are going to be able to find it. I might be able to. What's his name? He was on the Houston. Brahman. Remember Brahman?
Is that his last name?
Yeah. Big white guy, ponytail, absolutely shredded. Went and played for the Eagles. He was playing for the Texans. Brian Brahman. Is that Brian Brahman?
Hunter Barwin?
No, he was boys with Barwin, though. Hold on. I'll be able to find this. Listen, guys, no big deal. Brian Brahman, he blocked a kick against me. I mean, he was a special teams terror. Then he went to the Eagles, won a Super Bowl with them, the whole thing. But he bent his entire body around. Here, I'll send it over to Zito right now. This is worth, because I thought I broke my entire leg. I just sent it to Zito. Zito will pull it up right now. But there's a couple times where I've gotten killed. No call. Nothing at all. Nothing to do here. And I was completely upset because I wasn't. You watched some other people. Look at this. No call on that, by the way.
Let me see.
It seems a little like he was all up on you.
Like no call at all?
No call. Nothing.
Did he nick the ball?
I punted that one like 30 yards. So there's the ball right there. You see it leaving my leg. And you see my foot there on the other side. Brahman misjudged there by about, I don't know, like probably a yard or so. And he just wrapped his entire body around my leg. And I think he actually, his body was used as like a brace for my knee. Because I think that shit should have just completely snapped in half. I mean, and as soon as we got on the ground, right, we're obviously both end up on the ground here. And he apologized on spot. He was like, my bad or whatever. And then I look at the ref. There's no flag. And I go, what? I literally say, what the fuck? And Brahman starts laughing and jogs off the other direction. Okay. The ref thought that he got a piece of the ball. He did not. I still kicked it 30. But that's a moment where I thought my entire shit was broke. And the refs called absolutely nothing. And it was, my life was almost over right there. But that's kicking leg. That's why you don't want your kicking leg to get hit there for 15.
Oh, yeah. Either way, it's dangerous. Kicking leg or plant leg. But didn't Chuck Pagano go crazy when this happened?
Oh, yeah. This was directly after the one that I dropped and ran. So this same game, snap comes. It's a little bit high, but I should have caught it. I lose focus. Hits my hand, hits the ground. Okay, drop, snap. Holy shit, what do we do now? So I scoop it up. I was going to run for a first down.
You yell fire?
No.
You yell something?
That's field goal fire.
I mean, to let the guys that are protecting you know that, hey, I'm taking off?
They're not going to hear anything anyways. And that fire idea, that thing that everybody practices, I don't know if that's ever going to work, ever. But I juke a guy, hit a punt. But since some of our guys were downfield before the ball was punted, have to come back. The ball ended up going out of bounds at like the 11, one of my best punts of my life after juking a guy. Replay down. My guy is dead tired, who has to block Brian Brahman because he was already covering one punt. Snap, Brahman hits him with an up and under, tries to take off my entire fucking leg.
So in that one where you juked a guy and you still got it off and you had your guys down the field, should they have waited still to hear the boom before they go?
No, they had no idea. They had no clue. Me neither, by the way. I was just running for my life. I planned on running it for a first down. I was going to do like a full athletic move, And then I saw a guy who's much more athletic than me standing right in front of me. I was like, well, this. And I hit him with a, what's that, L1?
Oh, yeah.
I hit him with an L1, and then I punted that son bitch.
Hey, isn't Ty a fan of the Yankees?
Yeah, they cheated. 2017.
Yeah. So are they going to get in big trouble or what?
No, wait till all the information comes out.
Well, the information's ever going to come out because it was redacted, and Rob Manfred, the piece of metal guy, has just scraped it so far underneath the rug that you'll never be able to find it. It's very interesting here because the Houston Astros obviously have been defamed because of the disgusting, despicable stuff that they started doing with their batters and algorithms and garbage cans and robots. And then obviously the Red Sox saw this happen and they were like, let's hire the guy that's doing that. So now the Red Sox obviously get slandered and the Yankees, their fans, by the way, screaming from the top of the mountains like, hey, Red Sox, despicable, disgusting, Astros, terrible, boo them out of ballparks. Now, this weekend, I learned that the Pinstripes, Steinbrenner's operation, has been burying a thing bigger than anybody else, and it's all because the Yankees were stealing signs in 2017, and the piece of metal Rob Manfred guy said, bury it, get it out of here, can't have the Pinstripes be ruined at all. Ty, this has to be a tough look for a guy that's a diehard Yankees fan.
No, not at all. Like I said, we'll wait until all the information comes out, and I mean, we'll be exonerated. Listen, that was the same year the Astros were doing. Everybody's stealing signs. Everyone's
Disgusting. You're allowed to steal them, though. The question, they can steal signs, but did they use technology and TV cameras
absolutely
and
not.
all this stuff?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Ty has no idea.
Especially, though, Ty, especially doesn't Russ goes to spring training there. There's no way Russ would be a part of that.
No.
Well, he's a sack of shit, so I don't know about that. But
Russell Wilson.
What's the deal?
By the way, Russell Wilson, if he's in that clubhouse, they're not getting caught for this. They don't have to sweep anything on the rug because Russell Wilson would be like, hey guys, we can't do this, okay? Let's just get a good read on the pitcher's tempo. Let's just do this type of stuff. Let's just swing as hard as we can and hit the balls. All right, let's do it, guys. He wouldn't allow them to use whatever robot technology, algorithm, live camera that they were using in the Yankees allegedly. Russell Wilson would have never allowed him to do it. That's almost why I think it didn't happen, because in 2017, Russell was at spring training with them. So that's potentially why the Yankees might be safe, because Russell would never let that happen.
I'm not so sure he didn't have it instituted because the son of a bitch can't hit a curveball.
Oh my God! Unbelievable.
How are the ESPYs going to be? They're so
bad.
Terrible.
Who's he hosting it with? Though? How are they? Is it over Zoom? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
But are they going to be somewhere in a studio at least?
Only time will tell.
No clue.
Anytime you get people that aren't normally hosts having to host in a terrible time in a predicament where technology is not set up for your success. In fact, the complete opposite. It's set up for your failure. It's going to be, you know what? I'll go in there with an open mind, just like I did with the King of Staten Island. But if the first 30 minutes are as slow as the King of Staten Island, I'm going to fucking bail out and not wait for Bill Burr to come in and save it. I'm just going to let that be known now.
So is that movie not good? I shouldn't get it?
It's good.
I get it.
It is very good. But they could have condensed the first 31 minutes to about 4 minutes, and then bang, we're into the movie off and running. But they didn't. Judd Apatow wanted to really hammer home the fact that Pete Davidson sucks in his life, which we understood, but we could have done that in 4.5, 5 minutes. They did it for 31 minutes, but as soon as Bill Burr knocks on the door and that door opens and his mustache is shining, that movie, it's a good movie. Really, really good movie, but it's a tale of two movies. The first 30 minutes and then the last 107 minutes with Bill Burr in it.
So should I just skip the first 30 minutes?
I think we could probably give you a rundown of what the first 30 minutes is, and then as soon as you should go like 26 minutes probably.
I mean, I know Pete Davidson's story. I've followed some of his stuff. I know his dad died in 9/11. I know the movie's like loosely based on that, and his mom finds a new boyfriend in Bill Burr and how he feels about it. That's the gist, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, but there's a lot of. It's a good movie. I almost cried at the end.
I'll watch it.
I almost cried.
Yeah.
Asia probably will.
What happened? I don't mind. I don't care about spoilers. What happened?
Oh, well.
So at the end when he, I'm not going to do that. That's so fucked up. It just came out 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Are you still watching Alone?
Nah, I gave
That
up.
show stinks.
I gave up on it.
I won't have it.
Well, especially when you told me exactly how many days it lasts. So whenever they're like day
77. Yeah.
So when they're like day 6, I'm like, man, we are nowhere near the end of this thing. We are nowhere. That's one of those things, though, probably day 1 or 2. I was talking with, there's this guy, Josh, my lady's, what's it called? The
Maid of honor.
Maid of honor.
Maid of honor. Her husband's name is Josh. He was in the Army for a long, long time. Okay, he's a handsome guy. He's like James Bond for a long time. He's retired now. He's into sales, but he is an outdoor survival-like guy thing, you know? And we were talking about it over brunch yesterday at a real nice part of town. No big deal. Shout out Thomas, sous chef. Great cinnamon roll.
What up, Tom?
What up, Thomas? He and I were talking about it, and he said that he feels like in the first couple of days, real easy to tell whether or not you're going to make it to the end and win it, right? So he was like, I would do the show. I think I would fare well in it. I know how to do a lot of stuff, but I'd be able to know day 2 if I was going to be able to make it 60, 70 days or not. So this wouldn't be that big of an investment for me if I knew that I wasn't going to make it. But I think a lot of the people in there, they all believe they're going to make it, and then one thing happens, and there wasn't as much mental toughness out of a lot of them as I thought there was, and I think that's why I got out of there. But I think all of them knew they weren't going to be able to push on, and they were looking for a reason to get out. Just an interesting little observation.
The hardest thing about the show is almost like, Pat, when we talk about summer conditioning, like in college. If you run at the 6 o'clock group, your coach doesn't want the 8 o'clock group to know how many gassers you ran, and when it comes to that show, you don't know when people are booted off the island or wherever they are because they're not telling you. You just got to survive until they come and get you and tell you, hey, you're the winner. So that could be 77 days or it could be 300. You don't know.
How about that one guy who's like an avid hunter, like one of the best hunters on earth, and they put him in a place that just had fire-ravaged forests with no animals. So I was like, set this guy up to fucking lose, didn't they? This guy had a full bow and arrow. He's like, I'm going to go out and get a moose. I'm going to go do this. I have been practicing. And then he gets on top of the hill and he's like, so I have no green. Fire just throughout this entire place over here. There's no animals here. Okay, good news. Yeah, I moved on from it. Garth Brooks, I've been told that Chris Gaines makes an appearance in the second episode. I haven't been able to make it. I haven't dove back in. I just can't do it. I haven't found myself in the state of mind to take that deep dive into Garth Brooks' mind. I just can't do it yet, but maybe I'll get in there. Did you see Chris Gaines on Garth Brooks?
I have not. My brother actually texted me and said he does touch on Chris Gaines a bit. Like he doesn't spend much time on it, but I guess it's at least brought up.
Has Jordy watched it yet?
Oh, there's no way Jordy will watch that.
Hey, a lot of conversation about Jordy not coming out of retirement for the Packers this year, although it was potentially alluded to on McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk, all these shows they're saying. What's up, Diggs?
Much more than alluded to on our show.
Yeah, but everybody now that's talking to Jordy, they're like coming out with big statements. Aside from the statements that were said that he might come back, he will not be returning. He is happily retired. What's up, Diggs?
Ezekiel Elliott is still tweeting. I think he's listening to the show, so shout out Zeke.
What up, Zeke?
What up, Zeke?
His agent, he said that his agent did not break the story to the media. My agent only confirmed the story was already written. Reporters had been calling my agent all morning long.
Oh, the tables have turned.
Oh, turntables here. So he is listening to the show, it feels like.
Yeah. Shout out
Zeke. What up, dude?
What's up, dude?
Happy you got all the money. Hope this COVID-19 thing doesn't end too poorly. By the way, I'm not happy I know about you getting COVID-19. Kind of scares me. I wish the HIPAA law would have fallen into play in your particular situation. I think it's a bunch of bullshit, Zeke. But it is interesting who is going to get in trouble for this. This is Jason Pierre-Paul with the fireworks incident. Run it back, run it back. If Zeke did not want people to know this, and that was agreed upon, the fact that insiders found out, Zeke has a real grievance here. This is a real potential thing that Zeke could be pissed off about.
He does, but unless whoever broke the story first, whoever got it, could say, hey, no, Zeke, I found out from one of Zeke's friends or somebody that he told, and they told me it didn't come from a doctor. That's the only way, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but what if Zeke just found out this morning, and then as soon as Zeke found out, basically it was before Zeke could tell his parents, before Zeke could tell his friends, his family, the news was already out there. I assume that's why Zeke is pissed. I assume Zeke found out, and before he could even tell his family or anybody, the news was already out there. He was probably getting bombarded with messages, and he's like, what the fuck? I assume that is what Zeke did, if I had to guess.
The original breaking news was that multiple Cowboys and multiple Texans have tested positive. So are they testing players already? Are the teams already testing players? Is that how multiple Cowboys and multiple Texans got out?
Are they offering them up sites to go to get tested if they want to get back into the building to work out?
I think
None of the guys that tested positive were at the facilities working out. So it must not have come from the team.
Cowboys and Texans. So what is one Texas doctor just out here hustling behind closed doors, COVID-19 tests? I don't know. What'd you say, Ty?
Yeah, it's that because, like AJ mentioned, none of these guys had been in the facility, so it'd have to be, like from a third party or something.
Let me tell you about a third party that you need to party with.
Oh, yeah?
They're a third party that turns your ears into a full party. I'm talking about the wireless earbud that is half the price of all the other wireless headphones, but with the same damn quality. I'm talking about our friends from Raycon. Raycon's wireless earbuds are the next best thing for your ears to feel. AJ, you and I both have very weird shaped ears. It is it's for those that get it, get it. For those that don't get it, don't get it. It's been very hard for me to find anything that'll stay in my ear. That is why I can't have the ear things, because my ears just kick them out. That is why a lot of the AirPods, and they don't work. But the Raycon E25 wireless earbuds come with different sized ear things for me to put on there, so it has a nice noise isolating fit regardless of your ear. AJ, you got a chance to try the E25 Raycon earbuds, and what did you think about them?
Oh, they're amazing. They stick in your ear. It feels like they are embedded in there. And I mentioned before, I could probably go swimming in them. I don't know if they're water resistant or not. I just meant saying like they would stay in my ears when AirPods, if I look left, that one's falling out.
Well, and I look right and left because you got to keep your head on a swivel in a vicious cockfight that is life. But the Raycons don't even budge. I love them. And they have a compact carrying case that can charge your earbuds 4 times on a single charge.
What?
Yeah, so it's
4?
convenient. It's awesome. There's a range of fun colors and patterns. They're super comfortable. And there's a variety of fit options, which I just referred to earlier. Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbud on the market. They sound just as amazing as the other top audio brands. Raycons are great for working from home, working out, listening to music and podcasts.
Podcast?
We're listening to podcasts for hours and hours without driving your roommate, significant other, children, or neighbors crazy. Their everyday E25 earbuds are the best model yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolating fit. It also comes in a variety of colors. Go to buyraycon.com/sportstalk. That's BUYRAYCON.com/sports talk for 15% off your order, brought to you by our friends at Raycon. Snoop Dogg loves them. Cardi B loves them. Melissa Etheridge loves them. Our guy J.R. Smith loves them. I love them. AJ loves them. They are incredible.
Ray J just sent me a message. He goes, all of our Raycons are at least water resistant, meaning they are poolside safe and workout ready. While you shouldn't go swimming in them, they have at least IP export grade protection against weather and sweat.
There we go.
So
So if it's raining, you're sweating, or you're on a Stairmaster doing 100 floors in 30 minutes, it can handle the pressure.
Oh, the E100s are most waterproof, resistant water up to 3 feet.
Well, and right now you go to buyraycon.com/sportstalk. You get 15% off your order. You get the E25 or the E100s. Do whatever the hell you got to do. Just make sure your ears get the boom booms and a nice noise isolating fit from our friends at Raycon.
What's up, Ray J?
I'm just more impressed that Zito is text buddies with Ray J.
Well, Ray J has texted with a couple different people. One ended up with a video. One ended up with an incredible promo. Ain't that right, Z?
Yeah. I was the promo, not the video.
Would you do the video, though? You would.
Yeah, probably.
A Zito production.
Good camera angles.
Did you watch the AFL this weekend?
Come on.
I watched a tiny bit.
Come on. Why you going to disappoint the boys like that so much? Why are you going to talk down to us so much about a brand new fanhood of a game? The Sharon!
The sport does look amazing. I just got to figure out when it's on.
We told you.
Okay, so we got an entire schedule. Thursday morning, 5:40 a.m. Okay? The Richmond Tigers, the reigning champion, they had a tie last week against Collingwood, will take on the Hawthorn Hawks, who got blown out last week. Revenge game for Hawthorn. Hello out of quarantine game for the Richmond Tigers, the reigning champs in Dusty Martin. Thursday morning, 5:40 a.m. Don't worry about the first quarter, okay? Don't worry about it. You wake up second, third, or fourth quarter, you'll be able to catch on very quickly. And as that ball moves, you will too. It's mesmerizing to watch. Good sport, AJ.
Yeah, it looks like it. I know you've tweeted like you don't know how these guys don't just die every second. I feel like with the hits they're taking.
Every 5 to 10 seconds, there should be a catastrophic injury, and there isn't. And I don't know how, and I'm thankful for it. But they're running around with their heads down, AJ. They got their heads down trying to scoop up this ball, and then you got people coming in. Everybody knows in football, your head down, like that's where, hey, This is when the injury's coming, when you have your head down. That's why heads-up football is such a big deal. Like, heads-up football, heads-up football. Need you to stop trying to spear people at the top of your helmet, A.J. Hawk, and start tackling people with your face mask and see what you're hitting, Aussie rules football, they're running like this a lot and just slamming into each other with no helmets. I'm like, these dudes are rolling the dice, and I'm thankful for it. I just hope nobody gets hurt out there.
Well, that makes me wonder about that. You saw that Lamar Jackson clip, I'm sure, where he kind of crashed over the jet ski. First off, what kind of beach football game are you playing to where he can, as a quarterback, he can just pull it down and run? Like, was it full contact? Are they tackling him?
Was it 7 Mississippi? I saw no fat whites trying to tackle him after being the one that is automatically guarding the quarterback. But I did see he was in flip-flops. You know how hard it is to run in sand, and you know how hard it is to run in flip-flops. Put those together, and then he goes over a wave runner. Lamar Jackson is all the way back. I don't think we're going to see any fall-off of Lamar Jackson from last year to this year. I was wondering, can Lamar Jackson perform at the level he performed last year? He was making professional athletes look like freshmen, JV-like athletes on a football field on a regular basis. He was taking chances that quarterbacks don't normally take because of his freak athleticism. 20 yards down the field instead of sliding, hitting a circle button.
Get him.
Whoop. Making somebody fall on their face in the middle of the field, scoring a touchdown for another 55 yards. How long can Lamar Jackson do that for? How long is he the most athletic person on the field? Will he be able to do it again next year? I wasn't 100% sure. Then I saw him in flip-flops on a fucking beach, and I was like, yep, still got it. He is going to cook next year. I just hope he doesn't get killed by any inanimate objects like that jet ski almost did.
I want to know who the people are that he was playing against. Like, talk about the most unfair beach football game in the history of the world. Not only is Lamar Jackson the quarterback, but you let him take off and run. Like, he should be all-time QB. He has to throw it. He cannot run ever.
Listen, 7 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi. Rules is rules, dude. Doesn't matter if you're on the beach, on the street, or a backyard, Bob.
I like the fact that he was doing it. I like the fact that he was out there. Well, I mean,
going.
Yeah.
Hey, and he was going. It wasn't like he was half-assing. He was.
Oh, no. He took off.
I like that. That's like those videos you see of professional athletes when they're playing basketball, maybe with their kids, and they swat their shit 20, 30 yards. I like that. I like whenever professional athletes show either regular athletes or other people why they're professional athletes. Like, we used to go LA Fitness during the lockout, go down to LA Fitness or whatever. Watching some of my teammates just choose to flip the switch on against some of these Indiana folks was awesome. Just watching like D-Butt take off basically from like the foul line on people. It's those moments are awesome moments. I wish I could get captured more because it's like, oh, that's why that guy does that for a living, and that's why you see what just happened there. You two playing the same sport, but very different views here. Same hotel, very different views.
I did think it was pretty telling, though, that he decided to pull it down and run it instead of making a throw. You know, just pretty telling to see that.
Like, it's a little windy on the beach, you know, and when you throw the ball like a buffoon, it has the tendency to get just snatched up in the wind.
Or Diggs, maybe nobody was open.
Or maybe he's a fucking MVP because he makes good decisions. And maybe he doesn't throw the ball like a buffoon. He had like a 400 passer
Good
rating.
decisions.
This guy.
Running on the beach in flip-flops.
So what, Diggs? Are
Yeah,
you
make
saying
those
Big
calves.
Ben?
Build up those calves.
We'll see.
Would Big Ben have thrown a TD pass on that play?
Oh, yeah.
With his left hand.
Nah, Big Ben would have been playing with his kids golf in the backyard. That's all Big Ben would have been doing at this point. That's why AFC North's a whole new world, bub. Whole new world.
Smart, yeah. Wouldn't want to risk an injury on a beach.
I wonder why that
Step on
jet
a
ski
crab.
was there. Was the jet? Oh, the Hayabusa bike wasn't there, was it? Oh, you're talking about the one that Roethlisberger just ran into the back of a car in downtown
No,
Pittsburgh.
no,
Maybe
he said
when he
step
was
on
cut
a
off.
crab.
Oh, is that what you guys are talking
Cut
about?
off at an intersection.
You talking about when he took a
Finally.
Hayabusa coming out of a tunnel and
man-
tried to take his face off a fucking
The
windshield?
man lives a quarter mile at a time.
Exactly. So you're coming after
Old
Lamar,
lady
who's
had
playing
a
what,
license
50
revoked?
feet? Ben didn't even have a license.
Wasn't Tony calling him a fat stooge the other day?
Yeah, he did. Tony called him
You
big
were
fat
like, that
stooge.
guy's such a fat
Oh,
stooge.
don't fucking lie.
That
That's why I'm
guy.
going to wear a Connor shirt.
Zito, point at the guy that
That
said
guy right
Don't
there.
lie.
that guy right
Block
there.
him again, Ben.
At Tone Diggs with a Z.
Yeah,
Notorious
block
liar.
Anyways,
Did that about Ben Roethlisberger? Isn't he like your guy?
He is my God and Savior.
was he your God and Savior when he tried to go meet his God and Savior faster on his Hayabusa fucking motorcycle in downtown Pittsburgh with no helmet?
him. Go on, Tony.
He was. Big Ben's got a big body. He knows what he can handle.
Oh, so he's a fat stooge.
Do you wear a helmet when you ride?
What's that? No, I don't take a Hayabusa downtown Pittsburgh into a fucking, what is that? That is literally a
He's got
9-way intersection with two tunnels.
There's a lot of
Sometimes
options at that intersection.
Where he got into an accident, AJ, There's a tunnel that you can't see more than 4 feet into. Then it's literally a 6-way intersection where everybody's coming into, and you can't see anything from any of the other directions because Pittsburgh's put together so conveniently.
Under a bridge.
And he just went flying through there, no helmet on high, and then wham, dead. See you later. And by the way, I'm surprised he didn't get run over at that time. I mean, it was. But Ben Roethlisberger did survive. He did survive. Hey. But why was that jet ski so damn close?
Because some fan was cruising by and wanted to watch the game. What do you mean? So they just kind of beached it a little bit and jumped on the. Maybe that person parked it there on purpose and they forced him with their lockdown coverage. They forced Lamar to run. Maybe he was a Steelers fan, forced him to run, and he funneled him towards the jet ski.
He was our spy.
Diggs does have a little bit better tan this.
Tony,
Where
have you been?
With a jet ski?
Did you will?
By the way, that's dream life, right? Just riding around on jet skis, finding beaches to play pickup football with your friends at?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's probably pretty cool.
Yeah, like, oh, that looks a good spot. Yeah, beach this guy. Let's go play.
Let's go play over there, by the way. 10 Mississippi still? Yeah, I don't have to throw shit. All right, good.
There's kids that grow up like that. Well, there was a show on Netflix that followed around some of these like big time high school football players. There was a kid that lived down in Florida, like around Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and he basically had that life. It looked like.
Tate Martell.
Yeah, QB1. They did on Jake Fromm and Justin Fields as well.
You know, I think Justin Fields, he's going to be the guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be number 2 pick next year or whatever. He's going to be unbelievable. Not a lot of people talking about him. Trevor Lawrence is going to go number 1, obviously, because he's 6'10" and can run and everything like that. But Justin Fields is going to go number 2. He should be up for Heisman, I would assume, this year, Justin Fields. Foxy said this one time, and it stuck with me. There's just a certain level of grit that you can't get if you're born and raised in a warm weather climate. Like, you know, like I know you have year-long training and running in that humidity is terrible, but there's something about waking up in the morning, going outside and not being able to feel your fucking face because it's so cold and just having to power through, having to wipe off snow, there's something about that from, now granted, we can't do the cool jet skiing to different beaches and shred barrels and have great tans and stuff like that, but there's something about growing up in a place where the weather is piss poor that you just get from growing up. Like, ain't that right, Foxy?
Yeah, it's just harder to go to school. It's harder to go to work. It's harder to go to practice because you're waking up and it's negative 10 degrees out and you don't want to do anything but stay inside, and that's great.
And imagine being from Detroit.
Yes.
I mean, they're about to have the Detroit Grand Slam where all their major teams are being top 5 picks in the sport because they've earned them because they're so terrible. I mean, there's a grit there that you just can't get on the beach.
100%.
Yeah, I think so. I think growing up with some adverse conditions, it creates hard people at times. Not everybody. Nothing's like black and white. But yeah, it definitely can create some gritty, tough people. But there's also gritty, tough people. Like I could not imagine living year-round in South Florida, or bottom Florida, as you like to call it. Like when you walk out of your front door and you already have to change clothes when you're 3 steps out of your door. Like that's something I do not ever wish to have.
I'm a sweater too.
Yeah.
Like, I am a sweater. I can't do the humidity.
But you can always take a layer of clothes off, but you can't add more layers on.
Yeah, tell my lady that. The house. You know what I mean? The house.
Cool glasses.
That's cool.
Hey, cool
glasses.
Cool glasses.
Thank you.
They're cool.
What, is the house too hot for you, Pat?
No. We have come to an agreement on where we're living at. You know, somewhere in Southern California. But at one point, we were, you know, tip of South America down there. It was Ecuador. I think we were in Ecuador at one point.
Huh?
It was 82 degrees or something. I came home. I was like, listen, can't be doing this every day. I'll tell you that right now.
Rainforest Cafe.
And then obviously I was dramatic and I went the opposite direction. I said, well, you know what? I want Saskatoon. That's what I want. I want it to be 54 in here, at least. So then there was obviously a little bit of a give and take, a little scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, hey. And we met at about 69 to 72. We're in there at all times.
Oh, yeah.
69, 72 is a good place. And that's what agreements are, baby. And that's what the MLB and the MLBPA aren't going to be able to come to. You just got to come to an agreement. And sometimes you got to agree to it. You got to give up a little bit to get some other things in return. That's business. That's the way it goes.
So when it comes to baseball, who's going to blink first?
No,
the
neither.
players seem like who?
Neither of them.
You think they're both like the owners, I guess, and everybody? Are they okay not having a season because they know they're going to be losing a bunch of money anyway? This way, they don't have to pay out these salaries.
The owners can wait it out. This is always how this goes. The owners, for the most part, can wait it out. They can wait a year. They can wait 2 years. They know that in 3 years or 4 years from now, there'll be something else that'll bring the owners can always wait it out. The players are always the ones. Now, granted, the top end players who have money or whatever, they're going to be good, but there's always going to be a portion of players that are going to need the game, that are going to need the business because they haven't made it yet. They've worked their entire life to get to this point. And those are normally the majority of the players. That conversation starts getting louder. And in the end, the owners always end up winning. It's just the way it goes. Whenever you got billionaires taking on a few millionaires, a lot of 100,000aires that are supposed to make and survive them for the rest of their lives, the billionaires are going to win. And it feels like they're going to lay out a roadmap today for what they think is to happen. That's what the MLB players have asked. So, well, I guess if this stays the course for what this negotiations have been, the MLB is not going to answer today because the MLBPA told them to answer by today. So the MLB is like, oh, fuck you. We'll tell you tomorrow, actually, if that's how you want to do this thing, just to, drive it in a little bit more. And they'll say, hey, this is what we're going to do. You either like it or you don't. And then they got a CBA negotiation coming. I just don't see how this works out favorably for the players in any situation, and it sucks for them. It absolutely sucks for them, but I don't see how it's going to end up that way. I just don't think it's going to.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're gonna flinch. And for the players, like everyone knows, like when you're a player, the clock is ticking. Like you can't just hang out. As time goes, that these owners, they're gonna sit there, and it doesn't matter how their body responds to it. They're gonna be around when these players are gone. So you're right. Like players have that small window where they're trying to capitalize on it. I don't know, man. I just feel like they're going to have to find a way.
I hope so because, this is a big baseball show. So if there's no baseball, what do we do?
Need it.
So let's say something happens, Pat, and they come to an agreement today. By the end of the day today, June 15th, they have an agreement. When do they go back to facilities? When do they start spring training? What happens?
Well, that's what the players have been saying. The players have been saying that the owners don't care because they only want a shorter season anyway, so everything can happen mid-August. The players have been saying, hey, we need to get this done now because we want more games. It all depends upon how many games that the owners end up setting up. It all depends on when they can get it in. There's no hurries, no worries from the owner side. They got nothing but time. The players, though, know that these things have to be done sooner than later if they want to get this thing rolling. Am I accurate in saying that, Tyson?
Yeah, for sure.
We might have covered this, by the way, closer than fucking anybody. I had no idea I'd be balls deep in baseball bargaining agreements, but I feel like I'm here, and it does not feel as if they're going to get a deal done, and it doesn't matter. Just like the players basically conceded, it doesn't matter. If the MLB owners want a league or the season to be like something, they can do that whenever they want. All this bickering back and forth does not matter.
Yeah, I guess. But think about all the small businesses, too, around stadiums that need, never mind. There's not going to be fans of these games. Doesn't matter for them.
Wrigleyville. You just look at Wrigleyville. That place is a sensation whenever games are going on.
I still got the rooftops, though. You can fill those bad boys up.
Well, you better hope fucking bring
Sammy
Sosa
already
back.
are prime.
You better bring Sammy Sosa back for the first time in 10 years. You guys trying to run him out of town like Bartman.
I want him back.
Hey, what was his ending with? I know that he even said at the end was bad for him. I know the best is we got popped with a cork bat. I forgot about it until I watched that 30 for 30. But why don't the Cubs let him in anymore? What happened?
I was told earlier that the Cubs wanted Sammy Sosa to come out and admit guilt, basically. And Sammy would never do it. That's why last night when they asked him about it, he said he was one of 106 players or something like that. Go ask them. Why you ask me? Exactly. Is that what happened?
Yeah, basically. The New York Times effed him over. They're not a real thing.
What an
New York
answer.
Times?
What was that?
So the New York Times, you said it's not real?
Yeah, they're not real. They leaked a story that was not real.
That 106 people thing?
Yeah.
Not real.
Not real?
Is that the Mitchell report?
That was a voluntary test.
Yes.
The Mitchell report was because of the voluntary tests, right?
Yes, exactly.
And then that's when they found the Balco guy.
Exactly.
And then the Balco guy made Screwball movie and said he had to tuck Manny Ramirez into bed every night.
Exactly.
So what Zito's saying is that Sammy didn't take steroids.
No, I just said that thing and the New York Times lied. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know why.
But yes, the Ricketts wanted him to admit guilt to some degree, I think.
And he was
said,
like, I didn't do nothing.
Fuck
it, I'm not going to do it.
What was he like, Zito?
I didn't do nothing.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, that's Sammy?
Yeah, that's my Sammy, yeah.
Let me hear Sammy.
I don't do nothing.
Was he? Is he Dominican?
Dominican, yeah. I actually, the times we went there for Carnival, for the cruise line, he has bought maybe 40 to 50 fields over. It's amazing what he did for Dominican.
Well, he's a good guy. It's a
great
shame
guy.
as Chicago says, get him the fuck out of town.
We could have had a bunch of baseball fields in Chicago.
Yeah, he's a good guy. That was good. What are we going to talk about tomorrow? Anything you think?
Well, we're going to get to another update on baseball to see if they respond, right?
Yep. How about
You're
Daniel?
going to hold What's that?
How about Daniel Berger winning the Charles Schwab Challenge? That guy didn't even know he exists. He has 28 consecutive rounds below par. That is the most in the PGA right now. Tiger Woods during his Tiger Slam had 52, but Daniel Berger's on his way.
Now Daniel too, isn't he the guy where his putt lipped out, like went full 360 almost and lipped out? On the
That was
last hole?
Xander Schauffele. They're down at 14.
Xander, okay.
That was on the 15th hole, too, I believe. He would have been in the extra hole, and I think everybody assumed Xander was playing the best round of his life there. DeChambeau put on about 50 pounds, found the weight room. He was bombing balls. He went from scientific nerd where everything's tech to being on the tee box swinging like he's fucking Mark McGuire, and I love everything about that. Welcome to adulthood, DeChambeau. I don't know who Kokrak is, but I do know Morikawa and Daniel Berger put on a show. It was good golf on Sunday. Put me right to snooze there a couple times. It was nice to watch.
Kokrak's a big dude that bombs the ball. He's from up like around Youngstown, Ohio.
Well, that course was not set up for the bomber. That's why I was so interested in DeChambeau throwing out his back every time he's on tee box. If this is going to be the new DeChambeau, I'm about it. Yeah, I'm about it.
How much weight did he put on?
17 to 20, I think they said.
He big boy, man. He looks like a fridge now at this point. You don't see a lot of golfers like that. I'm excited to see how he does because, you know, that could potentially help out guys like you and me, AJ, in the golf world.
You think?
Well, you never know. We can make it to PGA. We don't. Maybe we take DMT or mushrooms and something inside of us clicks and we become the greatest golfers on earth. We don't know. That could happen. In a sport that revolves around what's going on in between your ears, maybe somehow, some way, a switch is hit in between your ears and all of a sudden you're the best golfer on earth. Nobody knows. Could be us.
Possible.
I mean, if that's a possibility, Pat, we better book a trip to Peru, somewhere over there, and do some ayahuasca or DMT so we can get on the tour. That'd be nice.
I think I already did it, by the way. My last round was unbelievable. I told you, I'm not going to play again because I can say that. My last round was unbelievable.
You're probably that guy that's like, you know what? Played really bad, you know, but on hole 15, I hit a shot. I was 220 out. I hit a shot over the water, and those are the ones that get you coming back for more.
No, those are every shot for me. I will quit, though. I'm okay with quitting mid-round. Like, some days I just know it's not for me. Some days I will just pick up the ball on every single hole, not even finish it out. This ball doesn't even deserve to go into the hole at the end of this thing. Let's go to the next. You guys finish. Take your time. Do whatever you got to do. Me, my clubs, and my ball have to figure some shit out here before the next tee box. And if we don't, I'm okay not wasting anybody's time. But there's some rounds where I'm on, where I would like to keep going, yeah, because I don't know how much I can bottle those up.
Like normally when I play, if I'm playing 18 holes, about hole 12 or 13, I'm like, all right. I mean, this is golf.
That's
should
how
probably
long
be about
golf
12
should
holes.
be. Yeah. Golf should be 13 holes, I think. 12, 13 holes. Honestly, I think that would be perfect for everybody. Now, that might even be long for some people, but then you could tell them, like, you should have seen what it fucking used to be. You think this is long. You should have seen what 18 holes is just a whole nother ballgame. 13 feels like the right number. And that might be because I collapse after that. Like if I'm having a great round, once I get to hole 14, you might as well just count me out. I'm already checked out. I'm on my phone. The music is probably stopped. I got other shit going on, but I can give you a good 13 if I'm hot.
Yeah, I think it's perfect. I get tired. I get like sleepy after 12.
Go tuckered out.
You get a little tired, AJ?
Sleepy.
Yeah, golf makes me more tired than anything I do.
That's because you're a fucking booze bag, dude.
That's why Mitt's falling asleep.
I'm saying no booze, no drinking involved for some reason.
I don't like drinking on the course much either, but I'll tell you what, I'll smoke every tree that's out there if I have to.
Oh yeah,
It'll get me in there. That gets
how's
me.
that? How's that any different from any other day?
Good call. Let's get to Emmett's Mullet Mitt's minutes here. That's a great question, AJ. I don't have an answer for that. Mullet Mitt did not get a chance to do his minutes in the first show, so if we can maybe summarize both the first show and this show, broader points maybe, so we don't get as dialed in. Ladies and gentlemen, coming fresh off a Sweet 16 Booze Bus weekend, Mullet Mitt and his minutes. Let's go, Mitt.
Come on, Mitt.
Let's see it, Mitt.
Let's see it, Mitt.
right.
Come on, Mitt.
Come on, Mitt.
Come on, Mitt.
We started out this Monday talking about how the MLB and MLBPA are not on the same page.
Bingo.
The words "in good faith" are some massive ones. The
Oh,
MLB
stop. I talked about this earlier. The MLB came out, AJ. Did you get it? I was watching you work, dude. It's like watching Bob Ross paint right there. You're trying to get that cigar going.
Thank you.
The MLB has released a statement that they're disappointed that the MLBPA has not negotiated in good faith. And I mentioned how that is massive because in the contract, I would assume it says due to unforeseen circumstances, both parties agreed to negotiate in good faith. So the fact that the MLB has come out and said that they're not in good faith, that means they're trying to set up for a breach of contract type situation.
Is it possible that these owners are doing this? Because you said earlier that it's possibly all these contracts might be just like getting rid of, right? Like half of it. Is it possible these owners are just like, all right, fuck it, let's just do this now, so all these like contracts become smaller and.
Well, and they're going into a new CBA as well, a new CBA negotiation. So both sides have a lot to gain or lose here in the forfeiture of whatever to get this season off the ground. And them coming out and saying that the MLBPA is not negotiating in good faith, that is a direct response, I think, to in the contract where it says if something pops up, they'll negotiate in good faith so they could potentially give them the old, that's breach of contract, just like people who have lost millions and millions for using a business phone to potentially call their wife or something like that. Sorry, Mitt.
Well,
Do you agree with that, AJ, though? Yeah, there's no reason they didn't bring that up if it wasn't for a good reason.
Yeah, and they're negotiating through the press too. I
Yep.
mean, that's done all the time.
Agreed. Okay, good.
we are looking forward to the next time Jet Passon comes onto the show, so we
Tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow, so we can get some more news on that. Some NBA news. Kyrie Irving and Dwight Howard voiced their concerns about the NBA coming back, taking momentum away from social justice reforms. We talked about situations where July 31st, the NBA will be everything on television and could potentially be the perfect platform for these discussions to continue. We talked Pat's clean step back, and in this office, we shoot from NBA 3.
Thank you.
PGA Tour.
That's true. We do, by the way. Make sure that one's highlighted. Because I saw a lot of people popping off on my Twitter. Oh, it looks like a high school 3 to me. Oh, does it? Does it? You don't know how much more money that costs us, actually, because that son of a bitch had to bring a whole new fucking thing in. Forget it. Never mind.
The PGA Tour came back, and congrats to Mr. Berger on having 28 consecutive rounds under par.
Hey, boy, Berger.
Spieth showed some flashes of his old game, and we also talked some rim jobs. A big movie review show. King of Staten Island is a tale of two movies.
Hey.
We get it, Pete Davidson, you're a scumbag. Thank you, Bill Burr, for coming in and saving the day.
Okay.
Look,
The character.
You're saying his character was a scumbag.
The character's a scumbag.
He plays the same character in every movie.
Wow. Jeez, Smith, double down.
just like you,
saying he
man.
plays
I like him.
Oh,
Big
you love
Pete
him.
Davidson. Big Pete Davidson's fan. But
Who's Pete
Davidson
Davidson?
fan.
Ah,
I like Saturday Night Live.
You blow.
you can't. Well, that's a shame you like saying that. He used to be so much better at it, but it's over. It's over, man.
You were doing good too.
Yeah, you were.
Oh yeah, he was.
Tale of two movies.
Kyrie Irving. Yeah, he's doing great.
What's your deal back there, dude?
What do you mean? What's my deal?
What's your deal back there?
Well, last week this guy he had a whole week off last week, and he doesn't even get through the first hour of your show.
True. Didn't even talk about your sleeve on your head either. We talked about that.
Well, I mean, I don't want anything regarding me crossing those booze bag lips of his.
I thought Mitt had a pretty good day.
Yeah.
I thought he did
AJ.
too. Hey, I thought you had a good day too.
Thanks, Pat.
Well, then you said that our entire show hates Pete Davidson as a scumbag. That's a little bit of a misrepresentation of the team.
Yeah, I blew that one.
No, okay, all right. So,
Accountability.
accountability.
Like that. Like that.
All right, AJ, you got anything to say to the people here before we get out of here? How's that golf tournament in Columbus coming around? Is it pretty good over there?
I guess it is. Yeah, there's going to be 2 of them coming up in July.
Oh, what are the dates?
July, maybe the 7th is when the first one, that week, the week of the 7th, maybe.
Are we going? Are we staying at your place?
I'll be out in Tahoe playing in that tournament.
The house is open.
That's a show.
House is
That's a
open.
show. That's a show. Wow.
That would have been cool.
That would have been, wouldn't it?
That would have been cool to go to.
Come on down for a mental vacation with the boys on YouTube Live. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. AJ used to tackle quarterbacks, and he's a Rust Belt kind of guy. That's the punter of the decade for the 2010s, kicking Pierce missiles to the sky. It's McAfee and Hawk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. It's McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk.